Hello, my name is Anjani, and here is the astrology chart for the full moon, which is coming up November 14th on Monday. The exact time is 5:52 a.m. and the axis that we're working here is Scorpio and Taurus. So the sun's going to be here in Scorpio for a little while longer before it goes into Sagittarius, and the moon and sun are in exact alignment, and the moon is over here in Taurus. So that particular axis is known as the path of Tantra. It's all about increasing life force energy, maximizing pleasure, maximizing feeling good, and really drawing up life force energy. So in the last moon cycle, so from the new moon to the full moon is and when I say moon cycle, that's what I'm talking about. And throughout this cycle, it's been really potent with raw intensity, and overall the whole world has been feeling our election. And Scorpio is really all about shadows, bringing the hidden things up into the surface. So during that moon cycle, we've had a lot of shadow material being displayed everywhere. We can't get away from it. It's just really intense. And intensity, and the word intense, like I want to have some more words to describe the feeling, but that's really what it is. It's just almost like an overwhelming, earth-shattering feeling. So with seeing all that happening in the outer, it brings up things from the inner, and a lot of people have been acting. It's like, because we don't know, and in our culture, we're not really taught how to work with shadow material and with the Scorpio energy. It's really mysterious, dark, has to do with sexuality, potency, power, life force energy, death, rebirth. Everything that has to do with the occult falls under Scorpio and Pluto. So these things we saw being played out, and we're all like, oh, I'm so offended and I'm triggered, and all these things that, they're triggered and offended have been the kind of key words for this last little portion of our existence on Earth. And that's really Scorpio's domain. So, getting to understand what is the point. And really what the point is, from what I'm looking at, is for us to be able to draw that out of ourselves and take it out and physically look at it. Like, what is my own shadow material, the dark matter that lives inside of us, and be able to bring it out and talk about it in a real way. I've been listening to people, Alicia Keys, oh my God, listening to her talk and her singing, it just brings me to tears. And that's part of this whole sort of transmutation that Scorpio and Pluto are helping us with. And when I say that, I don't mean that actually Scorpio and actually Pluto are actually coming and doing something in us. What I'm talking about is what those elements represent in our life. And the way I hold these astrology charts is the same way. It's like, this is sort of a divine blueprint in a way to help us understand all the parts of ourselves and find ways to integrate it, make sense of it, and evolve. So that's Scorpio-Taurus axis. And with this supermoon, everything that I'm going to be talking about here today, which I'm going to keep it brief to the things that I find to be most interesting, with a supermoon, it just makes it magnified by mega magnified. So yeah, there's a lot to say about that. When it's so close, we can feel it. It's like literally drawing You know, we had these massive waves, big surf all over the coast was massive here. And I don't know how it is in the rest of the world right now. I'm not paying attention, but that's happening within us too. These tidal waves of emotion coming out, and how are we going to work with that, you know? So let's go to the next thing, because talking about tidal waves, I want to talk about Neptune here, because Neptune is right next to, so it's a conjunction. They're both at 9 degrees in the sign of Pisces. Neptune is likened to Pisces, so similar type of energy. That's the south node over there. And then wherever the south node is, the north node is always directly opposite, because it's like, I call it a time tracker, or a keeper of time. It's like an imaginary line through the ecliptic. So with Neptune right next to the south node, and there's a whole bunch of squares going here. So let's cover this first. Neptune is the part of us that is the dreamer, the visionary. I don't know about everybody else, but I have been having the most amazing dreams. And a couple of my friends who I talk to about dreams have a lot of action, I call it, in the sign of Pisces. So my Pisces section is like loaded with, you know, there's 5 different planets in there. So I don't know if it's just me and the 2 other people who I talk to about dreams and things. They're 2 guys, and they both have a lot of things in Pisces also. So I don't think that it is just because it's activating that part of us. I think that collectively, because the south node is in the sign of Pisces, that it is a part of what's happening for all of us. So pay attention to your dreams. Please pay attention to your dreams. Honor that part of you, because Neptune is a part of you. It's you know, we can relate to your own subconscious material, and this is just kind of like showing us that. So Neptune, the dreams, the vision, this has to do with what we are sort of going away from, in a way. The south node has to do with history, past. When it's right there next to Neptune, all I'm thinking of is our past vision and dreams. And it seems like we have to do that again. We need to make the next dream and the next vision for the next generations. So Neptune is in opposition to the north node. The north node is like what we're going toward, what we want to do more of. And right now the north node is in the sign of Virgo, which is all about the sacred work. And a lot of people around me are getting dialed in to sacred work. People that I can't even believe. My best friend, who's a guy, is like all about it. All of a sudden, he's just on a grind of sacred work. So, and he's also one that I mentioned that he has a lot of personal material on that axis. So it does make a little bit of a difference if you have personal material in the Pisces and Virgo axis. And the same thing about this supermoon. If you have anything in the Taurus and Scorpio axis, this is affecting you personally more intensely. So I was looking around for a chart that I have to show kind of an example of what I'm talking about. So say here is somebody else's chart. So in the outside ring is what's happening in the sky right now. This person has their moon in Pisces, and oh, you know what? This is Leonard Cohen's chart. So I just read his chart. He actually died the same day the election took place, and this is just a really epic time for us in life. And point I'm making here is that, see the south node and Neptune conjunct in the sign of Pisces, but that would have been activating him personally because his natal moon was there. So whenever you hear these readings from myself or from other people reading astrology, it's a collective message, but it will affect each person a little bit differently. And especially if you have things happening in the part of your own natal chart that are being affected by the big sky that's happening right now. So while I have Leonard's chart here, I want to just make a mention that he's got Pluto square to Uranus and Pluto squared to Jupiter on his natal chart. And in our current sky, we have Pluto square to Jupiter, square to Uranus. Super epic, super, super epic. So I'm really feeling him a lot. I'll post a link where you can watch his astrology reading. But it's just the time. It's like we are the dreamers and the visionaries. And you can say that and it sounds cliche, but I'm reading that on the astrology chart. Like, this is what we're being asked to do. Let go of the old dream and vision and pay attention to your dreams. Like your night dreams that you're having, they are important. You might not think so, but they are important. And your waking dreams, like the visions and dreams that you're having when you get into those bliss states and you're relaxing in a hot bath or in a meditation, those images that pop in, they're important. Write them down, because this is our future. Like, we are creating that right now. So with Neptune and the South Node, they are square right now to Mercury and Juno. So people don't really talk about Juno so much. It has to do with, we call it a marriage indicator, and it has to do with what we value, and it has to do with our commitments. It's right next to Scorpio, which to me, it's right there next to Mercury, which is saying to me that let's talk about this stuff. Let's talk about what we want, for what we value, and what we need for our commitments that we're making to ourselves, to our partners, and to each other as a community. Let's talk about them. Let's discuss it. Let's think about it, and share that. Because it's square to Neptune. This is part of the vision and dream. So getting together with people and talking about this is where the action is, because you can, and I'm the number one, I'll sit in my room like a mad scientist and do all these things and have all these great ideas, but actually getting together with groups and talking about them, that's really where the changes happen and where you can get more momentum behind your ideas. So that's Neptune. I think, okay, one more thing here. Chiron, who I've been doing a lot of work with Chiron. Chiron has been known as the wounded healer. I'm calling Chiron now an alchemist. Sometimes I say shamanic alchemist. Sometimes I call Chiron magical alchemist. But basically, Chiron is showing us how and where to do alchemy. So Chiron right now is in the 5th house, which has to do with our passion and our desire, our creativity. Getting in touch with that is crucial while we are redoing our visions and dreams for our life and for the community, the global community. Chiron is at an easy angle with the sun right now. So easy angle, this is called a trine. It's called easy because it's like energy flows easily between the two. So let's look at it like that. So the sun being the most brightest, radiant part of our own psyche, of our consciousness. It's the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. When you look at the sun on your own chart, that placement of the sun will describe that, and the placement of the big sun in the sky describes that overall energy of the time, the part of the season. So with easy energy flowing through Chiron, we can see how the alchemical artist, the magical alchemist, that energy. So study alchemy, read a little bit about alchemy. I'm reading a really, really good book right now. I can't remember the name of it, but I'll post that in the notes. So good. And it's really, turning base metal to gold internally. How do we transmute our own material into what we want? this is the time to do that. It really, really is. So I'll go ahead and stop there. Thank you so much. There's so many more things I could say, but I'd like to keep this short. And I'm going to read Donald Trump's astrology chart now, so be looking out for that. Thank you so much. Happy full moon. Let's dream the dream forward.